So we're talking about Genos in this one and who he would benefit from training under the most. And this video was made possible by my great longtime patron Paxson D. Thanks again for all your support, Paxson. I hope this video is good enough for what you wanted. So Genos is definitely rough around the edges and could use some serious training and proper tutelage. I mean, he is only 19 after all, and he's basically been self-trained up until this point. He claims he's been in many battles before meeting Saitama, so he's probably picked up his current combat style and habits through those fights, along with trial and error. I also highly doubt that Kusuno taught him anything, and I don't think he uploaded like a fighting style into him like they do in the Matrix, since that kind of dynamic hasn't really been established. So Saitama is his current master. Well, if you really consider him that. I mean, of course, Genos does, but the truth of the matter is that Saitama doesn't really train him, nor should he be. They spar sometimes, but it's the equivalent of like your big brother destroying you in a video game. But even then, you could sometimes get better and learn from those losses. However, in Genos' case, his big brother is like the greatest to ever play the game, and there's nothing to be learned as it's an unattainable level of power, especially since there is no technique to what Saitama does, and Genos' mechanical body puts him at a serious organic power growth disadvantage. But that doesn't mean all hope is lost for Genos. He just needs a proper master, which I feel he would definitely benefit greatly from. So I've narrowed it down to two top candidates, but first let me say who I feel wouldn't be a good teacher slash master to him. First off, Metal Knight, aka Dr. Bufoy. So what Genos mainly needs is better fight IQ and fighting techniques, and this is something that Bufoy isn't really going to supply him with. Now granted, he could definitely buff the hell out of him, given the projected potential of Metal Knight. He could probably make Genos like a high dragon. But we have to remember that Metal Knight isn't the most giving or altruistic individual, and I highly doubt he would do this for Genos, or really anyone else. It also wouldn't fix Genos' poor choices in battle. It might make him just an even bigger glass cannon, possibly. I also feel Child Emperor wouldn't be a good teacher for Genos. So Child Emperor is a literal teacher and moonlights as like a school professor or something, but he just isn't the right fit for Genos. Child Emperor is more of a deductive type of fighter who uses research and his own arsenal to his advantage. I don't think this would help Genos, as he is more raw and mobile than the type of style that Child Emperor has. It is also stated by Phoenix Man that Child Emperor lacks adequate fighting abilities, because when he was fighting him in Brave Giant, he was just like aimlessly hacking and slashing and stuff, and just like before, he could probably upgrade Genos as well. Probably not to the extent of Bufoy, but we're looking for a proper teacher here, not just an upgrade. Now, as for who would be a good teacher slash master for Genos, I chose Bang. Flashy Flash is also a good candidate, but I feel as though Bang is the better choice as his style and methodology is more applicable to Genos. I feel like Genos would just have to change too much to adhere to Flash's style, as where Bang's water stream or flowing water can already be applied to Genos' current style. I also feel Bang's approach to fighting and overall style would greatly benefit Genos' longevity in a fight. One of Genos' main weak points is him needlessly throwing himself away or being entirely too reckless in order to get the job done. This also plays into like a lack of discipline and fight IQ, like I was talking about earlier, something that Bang has in spades and could definitely teach him. The Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist is more defensive than it is offensive, moving calmly and catching your opponent at the opportune moment and then smashing them. Hence the name, Flowing Like Water, but also smashing rocks. And Flowing Like Water is something that Genos certainly lacks at this moment, along with a good defense and like a pragmatic method of attack. Like multiple times he's demonstrated that he's the type of fighter who will take a shot to give a shot. And this just isn't the best way to go about things, especially when his cyborg body has shown to be not the most durable when against like a formidable opponent. I also feel as he has the potential to truly excel in this style and just in combat in general, as Genos just using his raw style like power, speed, when he put up a pretty good fight against Hero Hunter Garo. But like imagine if the tables were turned and Genos was just as skilled as Garo, and he also had like a pragmatic approach to his decisions during a fight. Like, the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist would also greatly improve the odds of Genos landing one of his Blast's attacks. As we've seen, Bang typically uses his Fang interpolation or instantaneous effect attacks once he was ready to counter his opponents, but in Genos' case, he could just use like a massive blast, which would probably yield a greater effect than just what a physical strike would. Genos also prefers to do his machine gun blow attack, which Bang also kind of has an analog to, and this would also be greatly improved, at least the application of it, if Genos were to use Bang style instead. Now, as for the abandonment, I'm not sure if Genos could use this. Now, it does say that this technique involves the mind, which Genos obviously has, but it does say it also requires your body. So does that mean that an organic body would have to act accordingly, or would it also work with Genos' cybernetic body, possibly? I mean, it remains to be seen, but if Genos could do it, I mean, obviously, it would benefit him just as much as it does Bang and Garo, and he would be, like, near unstoppable the way that they become once they use that technique. And then lastly, Drive Knight. Now, Drive Knight doesn't have the skill set of Bang, obviously, but he does seem to excel in robotic fighting, which he could certainly help Genos with. Like, maybe he could give Genos a better understanding of his arsenal, and maybe a better method of attack, as well as just a better way to alternate his weapons and stuff mid-fight, you know, the way that he does, what especially we saw him use against Neon. And I'm sure that he could also give Genos some serious upgrades, or maybe even just supply Dr. Guseno with some knowledge and hardware as well. I even feel it's realistic that Drive Knight could take him under his wing. I mean, as he showed some kind of concern for Genos, as he went out of his way to warn him about Metal Knight. But overall, I feel that Bang is the best candidate for being Genos' teacher/master. I mean, he's also shown interest in wanting to train Genos, so that adds to it as well. But that's pretty much it for the video. Once again, I want to thank my amazing patron Paxton D. Thanks again, my friend, and good enough for what you wanted. And to everyone else, let me know what you think. Who would Genos' teacher be? Or who would benefit him the most overall? Do you think it should just be Saitama? Do you think Saitama's just doing a great job and that he doesn't need to change? But let me know. And if you liked it, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.